statement released, they're not all annoyed that how do these pictures go out? How come we don't see any annoyance coming from them? How come they're not annoyed about that? How they're okay with everything? Screams, PR schemes, them leaking the photos, happily leaking it to their favorites and their squads, whoever.
Hanz, before we talk about your Harry and Meghan PR stunt theory, we need to talk about your own words. You defended Sydney Sweeney's Levi's ad. You called it gorgeous and brilliant marketing. You said people were overreacting over the white supremacy undertones.
I get baffled when I see people overreacting for no reason, because I think now it's turned into this big controversy about white supremacy, and I'm like, what in the world are we talking about?
You praised her as a typical blue-eyed blonde bombshell.
And she is the typical blue-eyed blonde bombshell.
But when Beyonce did the Levi's campaign, you called it disgusting.
Come here, sexy little thing. This is really disgusting what they've done with this entire campaign. I see the pattern.
We all do. Your own words show bias. You defend white women while attacking women of color. That is internalized racism. The sad irony is you don't see white supremacy as an Indian woman whose country was colonized by it. Now you're pushing the same narrative about Meghan Sussex. You claim that Harry and Meghan leaked their August 1st TMZ beach photos. TMZ's article stated the date, the location, and the activity. Santa Claus Beach in Carpinteria, California. Archie taking surf lessons. Page 6 and Insta confirmed the same recent photos. This was standard paparazzi coverage. You ignore that reality. You frame ordinary events as calculated moves. You decide in advance that Meghan is desperate for attention. You repeat that storyline regardless of the facts. Meghan and Harry do not need TMZ to stay relevant. They trend worldwide with a single post. The only one keeping them in your rotation is you. And of course, I can't tag Haz because she has me blocked. Another one who has me blocked. So if you would like to say hi, especially the Bayhive, I'll put her screen name on.
In a world increasingly governed by image, branding, and digital perception, fashion commentary isn't just about clothes anymore. It's become a battleground for values, identities, and deeply ingrained biases. What once passed as harmless opinion is now held to the light of public accountability, and rightly so. In this age where social media gives everyone a microphone, the stakes are high, and the consequences of hypocrisy are even higher. Lands with the force of a lightning bolt, shattering the glossy surface of performative commentary to reveal the fractures of bias, internalized racism, and manufactured outrage beneath. At the center of this storm is a commentator known as Hanz, whose voice has, for some time, held sway in the spheres of fashion and celebrity culture. But as this video brilliantly dissects, her commentary has not only grown increasingly controversial, but also conspicuously contradictory, especially when scrutinized side by side. The video offers a sharp, meticulously constructed analysis that exposes how Hanz, often hailed for her boldness, may in fact be perpetuating the very structures she claims to challenge. With JTB, known online for their incisive, no-holds-barred takedowns, delivering what can only be described as a verbal masterclass, this video becomes more than critique. It's a cultural reckoning. The video opens with one of the most glaring examples of Hanz's alleged hypocrisy, her divergent responses to two strikingly similar Levi's campaigns, one featuring Sydney Sweeney and the other starring Beyonce. According to Hanz, Sweeney's ad was gorgeous, timeless, and brilliant marketing. She went so far as to praise Sweeney as a typical blue-eyed blonde bombshell, casting her as the ideal image for Americana fashion. Yet, when Levi's unveiled Beyonce in their own denim campaign, Hanz dismissed it as disgusting and accused it of pandering, allegedly reducing it to what she called forced diversity. This disparity was not lost on viewers, or on JTB, who pounced on the contradiction like a hawk. With surgical precision, JTB lays bare the racialized lens through which these two women were judged. The campaigns were structurally similar, big names, similar aesthetics, same brand. But the reactions were night and day. Why? Because one features a white woman whose appearance aligns with Eurocentric beauty ideals, and the other a black woman whose power, influence, and unapologetic presence challenge them. The implication here is unmistakable. Hanz's reaction reveals not just a preference, but a bias so deeply internalized it escapes her own scrutiny. The video doesn't stop at calling out this contradiction. It goes deeper, drawing a line from colonial legacies of beauty standards to modern marketing and influencer culture. The idea that Sydney Sweeney's look is classic, while Beyonce's is disruptive, is more than aesthetic preference. It's a reflection of a white supremacist framework that dictates who gets to be seen as aspirational. JTB calls this out unapologetically, hammering home that for a commentator of South Asian descent, a region deeply wounded by colonization, to regurgitate these ideas uncritically is not only sad, but dangerous. From fashion to celebrity culture, the video next tackles Hanz's commentary on the now infamous beach photos of Prince Harry and Meghan Sussex, published by TMZ on the 1st of August. Hanz dismissed the images as leaked by the Sussexes themselves, calling them a PR stunt and branding the couple attention-seeking. But JTB, never one to let a faulty claim slide, goes to town on this assertion, fact-checking the details and dismantling the narrative piece by piece. According to JTB's source breakdown, the images showed Archie taking surf lessons at Santa Claus Beach in Carpinteria, California, a well-known public beach often frequented by paparazzi. TMZ reported the time, date and location in typical fashion, and outlets like Page Six and Instagram fan accounts quickly corroborated the story. In other words, this was standard tabloid coverage, not a stunt. JTB reminds viewers that Harry and Meghan need not call TMZ to generate buzz. A single Instagram post or Netflix press release from them reverberates globally. Why on earth would they need staged beach photos for relevance? But the deeper issue is not whether the photos were staged. It's the eagerness with which Hanz assumes they were. JTB suggests that Hanz has, over time, positioned herself as a relentless critic of Meghan, in a pattern that echoes broader media hostility toward women of colour, particularly black women who refuse to conform. In fact, Meghan's mere existence as a biracial duchess has been a thorn in the side of traditional British sensibilities, and by extension, for those who unconsciously uphold those structures in their own commentary. JTB calls this behaviour for what it is: obsession disguised as critique, and internalized racism dressed up as objectivity. Throughout the video, JTB masterfully threads together the underlying themes driving Hanz's rhetoric. Chief among them is internalized racism, the subtle, insidious way colonized mindsets can persist long after the colonizers have left. For an Indian woman to praise white aesthetics while trashing non-white ones, to assume the worst of a black duchess while giving white actresses the benefit of the doubt, is not simply unfortunate. It's emblematic of a deeper sickness in media discourse, one that rewards assimilation and punishes authenticity. The video doesn't stop at Hanz. It uses her case as a springboard to critique a larger phenomenon, the myth of objective commentary. As JTB so eloquently states, when bias is wrapped in pretty words and claimed as fact, it becomes a seed of distortion, one that grows fast in the soil of social media. Commentary like Hanz's doesn't just mislead, it shapes public opinion in ways that reinforce harmful hierarchies. What's more troubling is that such commentary thrives not despite the commentator's identity, but often because of it. When a person of color upholds white-centric views, it's perceived as more balanced or neutral, when in fact it may be more harmful because it hides bias behind a shield of relatability. At the heart of the video is JTB herself, a voice that crackles with conviction and clarity. She does not mince words, nor does she cloak her critique in politeness. Her verbal masterclass is just that, a precise, impassioned dissection of hypocrisy delivered with wit, intelligence, and unrelenting honesty. This isn't just a drag, she says at one point, it's a dismantling. What makes JTB's critique so powerful is her command of both fact and tone. She quotes sources, cites dates, references marketing trends, and historical context, all while maintaining a tone that is righteous without being self-righteous. Her voice isn't just commentary, it's catharsis, a much-needed reckoning that slices through flimsy arguments like a hot knife through butter. When she says Hanz's objectivity is a flimsy barricade of troll logic, it lands with the full weight of truth. Her voice becomes, as the video puts it, a charged particle electrified by truth, and honestly, it's exhilarating to watch. In the end, the video doesn't just expose one person's contradictions, it holds a mirror up to an entire culture of commentary that masquerades as insight while peddling bias. It asks viewers to think critically about who they listen to, what narratives they absorb, and why certain voices are amplified over others. And most importantly, it challenges creators, especially those from historically marginalized backgrounds, to examine whether they are dismantling or reinforcing the very systems they claim to oppose. This isn't cancel culture, it's accountability. And accountability, when done right, is not an attack, it's a correction, a course adjustment in the service of something greater than likes, clout, or controversy. As JTB says in her closing lines, in the age of endless opinion, truth isn't just radical, it's revolutionary. So the next time we scroll past a viral opinion, a take masquerading as truth, or a critique dripping with double standards, we do well to pause, to think, to ask whose voice is this and whose voice is missing. Because in a world full of noise, the truth doesn't always shout. But when it does, especially through voices like JTB's, it echoes, loud, clear, unforgettable.